You're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Was It Chance, the podcast about embracing opportunity, taking intentional risk. Fuck! For your creative life. I'm Heather Picker. I can't get through it because he makes all these stupid ass faces constantly.
Now this is just one of those running jokes that I love. All right. And I'm Alan Seals. Heather and I started off as two perfect strangers who met by chance and embraced opportunity. So now you, the listener, get to listen in as we chat with other successful people about the risks they've taken to put themselves on a path to creative success. You, the listener, get to listen in.
The listener, get to listen. Not watch. Well, maybe on Spotify.
Yeah, you can watch.
Yeah.
You, the listener, can watch with your eyes closed. Then you're listening again.
It's been a month. It's the 4th. It's been a month. Hey, Alan, who's with us today?
May the 4th be with you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But it's not May.
No,
it's February.
May the 4th. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
okay. We have two guests today.
Double trouble.
Jen Ponton and Deborah Unger. Ponton. Did I say that right?
I was like, you can't read.
Jen Ponton. Ponton. Ponton.
That's exactly right. Ponton.
It's a throwaway. Ponton.
Yeah, it's a throwaway. Perfect.
Okay. Oh. Jen, no, you throw away the line. That makes comedy great. Okay. Jen Ponton and Deborah Unger. So we have two guests, Jen Ponton and Deborah Unger, two powerhouse creators whose work exemplifies the transformative power of storytelling. So Jen is a dynamic actor, writer, activist, and she is known for her roles in 30 Rock, The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Orange is the New Black, and her TEDx talk on Hollywood's fatphobia problem. And now, Heather, pass it to you.
Oh, you're passing it to me. I know. We said, let's share it because there's two of them. We don't do two guests very often. Deborah Unger is a versatile performer with a career spanning film, television, theater, appearing in Gotham, Birdman, and Motherless Brooklyn. Together, their work in Maiden, Mother, Crone, and I'm excited to even talk about the title because I'm in my Crone era, challenges, connects, and inspires audiences, proving that theater has the power to transform both creators and viewers alike. Very cool. Friends, welcome to Was It Chance?
Thanks. We're so excited to be here.
We need to get that little air horn sound. Beep, 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 beep.
Can it be different? You know what? That sound makes me think of Kelly Clarkson, who makes that sound with her mouth all the time, and it annoys the shit out of me. I love Kelly. I'm a big Kelly fan. I'm not mad at Kelly, but why is she doing that?
I don't know. Why does anyone have a nervous tick? Maybe because they're nervous? What could be our nervous tick?
She does it when she's excited.
That's how she feels.
My nervous tick is fuck.
Okay, that's it. Every time after we introduce everyone, we all have to go 1, 2, 3, fuck.
1, 2, 3,
fuck.
To which I respond, "Oh, shut up!"
Right when you did that, and I really thought I was going to spew it all over my microphone.
Well, so tell me. You said you're in your Mother Maiden Crone phase, Heather. So what is the title?
No, just the Crone part. I mean, okay. So listen, maybe you don't know this, but that is
what is that? Explain that to me.
The path that all women go down, and I really want to hear Jen and Deborah talk about it. But you start as a maiden, and then maybe you're a mother. But even if you don't birth someone, there's a mothering phase. There's a mother hen caregiving phase, and then there's the Crone phase. And it's funny. I just had this conversation with my 20-year-old daughter. I was like, I turned 50 and I feel fully ready to embrace the Crone phase. And they were always the coolest ones in the fairy tales anyway.
They're the smart ones.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
They know shit. Yes, ma'am.
They know shit. Oh my gosh. Okay. I have so many questions, and for both of you, and we're balancing asking two different people. We don't normally do this, but I'm really excited to have you here together. Let's just talk about how you came up with that title.
It was Jen.
It was my idea, as a little tarot nut job myself, and
me too. Yay!
Right? Like my show feels so witchy. Deb's show feels so witchy. And there is
Crone.
Yeah. And like both of our shows are really about unlearning a lot of things that that women are supposed to be, and about the multitudes that women and the women who are around us contain. And so it felt really appropriate because my show sort of like boots me all the way out of Maiden. And I never became a mother. So in my own way, even at 40, I'm like, I'm fully Crone. I'm fully into Crone. And Deb's show, interestingly, has gone out of Maiden and is a real fight between mother and Crone the whole way. And finally, there's like this beautiful moment at the end where there's understanding and like a bridging of the gap. But I just had like the 3-card spread in my head for so long. And I was like, I don't know, this sort of feels like the unifying cabaret title of both of our pieces together.
And I love the 3-card spread vision of that. Sorry, didn't mean to.
No, that's okay. But if you see the graphic where it says Maiden, Mother, Crone, you also see there's a big X over Mother.
That's right. It's
Yeah. I love that. I'm a deck person. I co-created this deck of manifestation cards. Create brave
cool.
cards. They're so much fun.
You should
My
send
favorite
them.
product.
Send them a deck.
I would.
Maybe.
Or as they say in New Zealand, show them your dick.
Wow.
Heather, just come to the show and then you can present them to us. And
I know. I really do. I really do want to come to the show, but I'm not.
It was a really
sure.
big dick, Heather.
Have you been waiting for that? Have you been just holding that for years?
I've been holding.
Probably got to post it on his computer.
I've been thinking about your dick for a long time.
And there is one.
And she never made another one ever again.
We have a sibling-like relationship here where he does the most annoying fucking things and I just laugh and nod my head like, okay.
Making Heather laugh is genuinely one of my favorite things to do in life.
I love that.
She's got a contagious laugh.
That's nice.
I love it.
We open with it almost always because he does something stupid and I laugh. So yeah.
You mean I'm awake? Yeah.
The stupid, yeah. This is going to be a fun video too because all you can see is just light hitting me, which is lovely when I'm working, but not when I'm recording.
Have you heard about blinds? They're a relatively new invention.
I don't have them up here.
I know. You should check them out. I'm going to send you some blinds.
I don't want them. Stop telling me what to do.
She wants her vitamin D. She needs that D.
I do.
She does need that D for her dick.
That D because I'm a lesbian. But the vitamin D is a yes.
So here's my vitamin D.
I have a little light. Yeah.
Little sad pad. Yeah.
So turn
it on.
Maiden, Mother, Crone is it's a show that you guys have put together. So tell us the journey of like how did you meet and then where did the whole thing start? Of
and was it chance?
Yeah, and was it chance?
Totally.
How did you?
Yes.
Oh, we have a real fated meet cute. We have a full on meet cute.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain it.
It started because we both signed up for this woman who was coaching actors on connecting with industry people and publicity and, getting an agent and all that fun crap that nobody tells you have to do when you decide to become an actor. And this was, back in the pre-technology days. And so our meetings were on a telephone trunk call.
Wow.
Yeah, they were actually teleconference. And you
teleconferencing, but like this, not with the spaceship in the middle of the conference table.
Right.
And the way she worked the class was each week you would switch off and have another partner who would be your support partner for the week. And you would talk every day and, do the assignments and all that stuff. And Jen and I didn't get paired up until the final week. And and someone had dropped out. And so there was actually, she said, would you take a third person in your pod? And we said, oh, sure. Well, we got rid of her pretty quickly. she just was not like on the same wavelength or mind train that we were. But Jen and I were just like, hey, I like you. Do you like me? You better like me.
You don't have a choice.
Like, oh shit, I do. That's good. And that began our journey. That was about 15 years ago. And we've just been entangled in one another's lives since then and are very happy for it. Very happy for it. This is like, if not the first, the second person I get to thank or will thank when and if and when let's just say when I get any kind of award.
There you go.
Yeah.
Aww.
It'll be up there.
Wow.
It'll be up there.
Jen, how does it feel to be somebody who is going to be thanked when she wins an award?
Marvelous, because I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'll make her come up on the stage with me.
Ooh. Okay, well, so can we just very briefly have each of you sort of share your journey to being an actor? Like what were the intentional risks you took? What were the choices that you made? All of that cool stuff that sort of got you to that teleconference call. What about you, Jen?
So for me, I had, I was one of those kids who like right out of the gate, I was like, I want to do this. I want to be on Broadway. I want to be on TV. I want to be in movies. I want to make people laugh. I want to sing. I want to do all this. And I grew up in a really rural area of Jersey where there were no arts connections. So I didn't really get to like do plays until high school. But once I caught that, I mean, there was absolutely no looking back. And I did get a theater degree for whatever that's worth.
Me too. It's worth nothing. But it's all good. Not saying you shouldn't do it, yo. I'm not saying that for other people. I'm just saying it.
Or maybe do no college. I don't know. It's kind of hard. But,
oh my God.
I don't think it matters as much these days.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But once I got out of college, or even right before, I was just rabid to try and figure out what the life of a working actor was like, because I don't come from a family of artists or performers. So I was off to the races. I was on all the listservs. I was at open calls at 5:00 in the morning. I mean, I just did everything. I did shows at St. Mark's Place, at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, right? Like the whole nine. I spent years and years hustling. And that happened for about 4 years before I found the coach that Debbie mentioned. And I was just, sort of in a place of like throwing spaghetti everywhere at the walls. And I was like, well, I'm having fun, but also it would be really nice if I could get an agent. It would be really nice if I could start like truly auditioning for TV and film. Like it happened sometimes, but it was really hard to figure out what I had to do. And so I signed up for this course that put me in touch with Deb, and really both our careers took off in a whole new direction after that, because we had both had a lot of success and establishment in theater and on stage, but it really helped catapult us into the burgeoning film and TV market that New York has become.
How'd you find that coach?
She was a really good marketer, and there's a place called Actors Connection, which does all kinds of classes and workshops and like one-on-one meetings. And she would hold, a free seminar where she'd give you a couple of really applicable, easy to enact little tidbits of wisdom. And then of course she'd end with the pitch of like, hey, and if you want to do the bigger course, like here, end of day today, you can get this big discount. And she was really a wonderful person and such a great energy and so smart, and just didn't feel sleazy at all. Didn't, make your skin crawl and make you like want to run to the bathroom.
It's rare.
Yeah. So, so it was a really easy yes at that time. And then Deb and other dear friends of ours that it connected us to, like so worth it for all the success and all the business know-how, and then the community on top of it.
I love that.
Yeah, we actually created a group It started because Jen said, "Oh, I know how to do a one sheet, to advertise yourself." And we said, "Oh, well, tell me how to do that." And so we decided to have like an hour or two meet up at another friend's house to learn how to do a one sheet. And Jen's a great graphic designer as well. And so she sort of led it. And I don't know, about a dozen people came.
It might have been
or
that
15.
Many. It might have been that many.
It was like 12 or 15 people. And we had one asshole who tried to dominate the whole thing. So we just ignored his.
There's always one.
I'm glad he left early. Yay. But 8 of us kind of bonded. And we started meeting weekly. Every Friday, and it would be between 2 and 5 hours. And we did this for a year, and then the 2 guys dropped out. And so now it was just 6 women. And we 6 women continued to meet. I think we met intensely for like a year or 2 years, right?
Oh, longer than that, Debbie. Longer than that. I think we didn't.
Okay, maybe 3.
Start not seeing each other regularly until maybe 2017.
Okay. So by that time we had just established this bond because we pushed each other in the kindest way. But where you were stuck, because it happened to our friend Catherine, whose house it was. She was sitting in one of the chairs and she was saying, "Well, I'm 40, I'm ugly." We're like, "Are you kidding me? You are so wrong. Get back into the business. You're gorgeous. And who gave you that shit idea?" And then she sort of kept shrinking back and back into the chair as piled on top of her, telling how wonderful she was. And so that turned out to be a terminology that we created called, "Oh, are you going to get chaired today?" Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are. And, but there, for some cosmic reason, was an innate trust, and we would allow the others to push us, and it worked in the most wonderful way. And so I think it was 7 years. And about in 7 years, we kind of quit making sure we were doing it on a regular basis, or the massive email chains that were going around, But that 7 years, I don't know, Jen, what would you say? I mean, it's probably the foundation for most things that I do now, because it not only gave me lots of information that other people had on how to do and approach things, or how to feel and how to deal with the ick feelings, the business. But it made me certain of myself, I think. Would you say, Jen?
Okay, first of all, that's a great joke. It made me certain of myself, I think.
Oh, come on. Ain't nothing certain but taxes and death. So,
I'm really Mom used to say, I don't have to do anything but pay taxes and die.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm really confident. Right? Isn't that true?
But we still lean on, there are now 3 of us who stayed in the business.
Us and Catherine.
Yeah, we're the core. The 3 of us are the core. And if anything comes up, the first thing is either text or call Jen or Catherine. That's the first thing, because I know they'll help me get my head put back on straight. And I can't tell you how valuable that is. And COVID kind of really screwed the pooch on that for people. Mm-hmm. But, if anything comes out of any interview we do, it must be the message that you must connect with people, and you throw away the piranhas and keep the ones you can trust, and cling on to those ones you trust, because they're the ones that are going to, keep you from thinking bad things on a Saturday night when no one's calling you.
Connect with real people. That's like my whole goal for this year. Not that I'm not doing that, but like in person, like the people I can touch and put my hands on in my own community, because we get so easily lost in an online world. And I have a virtual business, so I can do that. I can work from anywhere with anyone, which is great.
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned for more of the episode. And now we're back.
It was after the election, like the day after. You guys are woo-woo, so I'll just go all the way in. Like the the message that was so loud and clear was, get out into your community and be with people in person. You have to touch people.
And isn't that what theater's all about?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I miss most about COVID was the inability to sit in a giant space with a room full of strangers and all go on the same emotional journey.
Yeah.
That's what you missed the most during COVID.
During COVID, not about
COVID.
Yes, during.
Because you don't miss COVID.
No.
Right. No.
Not at all.
So Deborah, will you just give us the quick rundown of like how you ended up in that teleconference? Like your life?
Same thing. Actors Connection, went to this free seminar, and at the time I was making a short film, and what I got from what Dallas was pitching was about doing PR and getting the word out, and I'm like, yes, I want the world to see my 10-minute film, which turned out to be 18. But I actually went out to California to do her workshop because I couldn't wait. That was the journey that started for me. But in terms of theater and this piece, I'm an Army brat, and something between my personality and having to move a whole lot from the age of 0 to 18, the storyteller in me was always prominent. And maybe because that was my way to connect. First time I moved, I was 6 weeks old. Oops, And then a year after that, we moved. And 2 years after that, we moved. And 2 years after that, we moved. And 2 years after that, we moved. And a year, and then 1, and then 3, and then 2, and then 3, and then my dad retires from the Army the same month that I graduate from high school. So
it's not funny, but wow.
Yeah, no, right? So along the way, including the year that he was away in Korea, I think that's when the storytelling really kicked in, and that's when I started writing. I wrote a little series about a caveman and his dog.
Oh,
I still have it in a spiral steno.
What did he name the dog?
I can't remember the names right now, but I could go look them up. It's in the Foot Locker with a lot of stuff, and that was how I would connect with people. It's like, oh great, we're moving again. I have to make new friends again because people under 40. When I grew up, a long distance phone call was a luxury.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Same.
You just didn't. It was like, all right, everybody gather round. We're going to call Aunt Tessie in Pittsburgh now, and that's it for the year, And so the only way you could communicate was writing letters, which I did a lot. But other than that, it was like, damn, if you don't want to feel like a bozo until you get adjusted to the new place, go out and tell someone the story. And I did this in the 4th grade. As a matter of fact, my mother, in her very gentle way, said, go out and make some friends and take your sister with you.
Get out of here.
And she, my sister is 2.5 years older than me. And she's like my complete opposite. Everything where I'm, wow. She's like, don't look at me. So I'm 4th grade, right? And I go outside, and there happened to be a huge play field across the street from the apartments that we were housed in, quartered in. And so I go out and I see some girl on a teeter-totter, and I walk up to her and I say, hi, I'm Debbie. I just moved here. You want to be friends?
That's how you get it done.
And she's all, well, she's an Army kid too, so she understands. I turn around and I say, oh yeah, this is my sister. She's shy. And of course that made her shrivel and go back home. That's always the direction I'm pointed, because that was where I found comfort and connection. And so it was just logical by the time I, hit high school that I decided to be an actor.
Well, you said that writing gave you that connection, though, right? So where did the switch come to actually want to perform versus just write and create in the
Because connecting in real time is always better than writing for me. Writing kind of lets me get my yayas out. I use it like as a dump to clear my mind, because it's really noisy up there. But the whole point of writing is so that it can be spoken and told to people and connect. And then I wrote a play about car safety in high school.
A play about car safety.
Yes, well, I was asked to do it, so I did. And my friend, who is now my longtime friend from high school, he owned a Roadrunner, so we made out of cardboard a roadrunner for him to, be on the stage in. And
I love that.
Just, all that kind of stuff like that. So, and then when I came to New York, I got frustrated because, you don't get cast in the things you want to get cast. And I came here to be a musical comedy star, of course. And things weren't happening. So I thought, well, we can say it. So fuck that. I'll write my own shit. And I started doing cabaret shows. So I think that's the writing supported me in doing that. And then,
So Mother Maiden Crone brings together these very personal stories as solo plays. And I'm curious, what drew you to the solo performance format? Is that like your thing, your specialty, or is this a little bit different? And connection has come up a number of times with both of you. And so how does this solo format help you connect with audiences?
Well, solo is not my specialty. Although I suppose the argument could be made. Do either of you know what forensics is?
Yes, we've all seen CSI.
Yeah, CSI, crime scene.
Actor forensics? How about
actor
forensics? Did you know? Okay, so
is it like investigating to figure out all the details to use to figure out the crime?
No. In fact, if I want to get really nerdy with you, I'll tell you that it's called forensic science because you have to be really eloquent and you have to orate in front of a court. So they called the science after the public speaking part of it. Anyway, I did a lot of forensic.
I love that fact.
Well, yeah,
thank you.
That's legit. So I did a ton. I loved forensics all through high school. And that really it was individual competitors. So you basically went up there with a script, with a play, with a 10-minute cut of a play, and you played all the different characters yourself. So I do have the skill set, but I didn't seek out solo performance because I never knew what I would want my solo show to be. I sort of tried my hand at it a couple times in my early 20s and nothing felt moving. So Sugarcoated did not start as a solo show. It began as a much needed, like Deb said, giant vat of memoir that was just containing the rubble of my life as I came out and as I completely pressed the boom button on a very long established Stepford wife life. And so the memoir was like, well, there's a book in this, and this is also just my mental health jar. And and so a year and a half ago, I was talking with a friend who does audiobooks, and she was asking me about my book, and I told her, and she grabbed my arm and she's like, Jen, this is a solo show. And I don't know why it hadn't occurred to me before that, because similarly to what Deb's saying, I love the family connection aspect of a play, of being a cast member. That lights me up. That makes me very happy. I'm an only child too. So I wanted to be around other people so badly. And I never, and so I didn't really see the draw of solo work. But after a pandemic, it was well, maybe this is actually a way in which I can, in addition to everything else, safeguard performing a little bit, because you don't have to worry about an entire cast infecting each other, and you don't have to worry about a huge amount of money going into a big production and a ton of investors. And at the end of the day, that's not this production. All Deb and I really need is a light and a mic, right? I mean, at the end of the day, this could
not even the mic.
No, yeah. Not for you.
Yeah.
You can project.
So
old school.
So, it's definitely had its perceived pros and cons of well, I guess I'll miss having people to act with and having a little cast family. But also, what a cool thing for me to just kind of be able to rejigger and maybe bring it, to other cities, and I can still do the play kind of no matter what. And then as Deb and I were on a call with our friend Catherine as we were having a little goose flocking, as we call them. We were both respectively lamenting. I was like, producing alone is hard. And Deb was like, the festival circuit is frustrating. And I was like, what are we doing? Debbie, your show is so beautiful and it actually works really well with my show. Why don't we do this like a cabaret would, where we're both, in residence together under an umbrella, and then we technically have cast members and we get to do it together. We get to be in the dressing room together. We get to have this, kind of like family experience to a certain extent, but, still work through this, our respective shows that I think we could do, and finagle for a lot of different spaces and a lot of different budgets. And it felt like the best idea I had ever had.
To date.
There'll be so many more.
So then, you decide to put this together and walk us through the steps of getting this onto a stage, and we are here. So obviously you're doing your own marketing, you're doing your advertising. How did that all come to be?
I gotta tell you, I am so grateful that we're now right before tech, which means Deb and I both basically get to hand everything off to the people around us. Because I do not love producing. It is very stressful. Nobody answers your emails.
And when you hire someone, they go, okay, but do I really have to do all of that job? Yes. I'm paying your ass. You have to do your job.
Well, that's the problem.
Call me back.
Pay the rest of them, not just their ass.
It's so initially, I was working at securing all this maybe 2 months before Debbie was fully on board. And it was like yelling into a void. It was true. It was the most dispiriting thing of all time, because they were it's not even like it's a theater putting me on, right? It's not them saying, we select your play and we're going to produce your play. It's like, I will give you money to let me do my play. And I'm sending these emails will you take money? I don't have to make my play. And just nothing. Tumbleweeds. Just the great void vibrating back at you. And I'm like, oh my God. And our producer Alex was with me at that juncture too. And she's like, it's summer. And I'm like, but nothing works anymore. It's like it's been postponed. And then finally, The Flea was one of my top choices, and it looked like I wasn't going to be able to get the dates that I wanted. But by the time Deb was on board, they had exactly this chunk of February, and I was like, I think The Flea is it. So they've been really wonderful from jump in terms of being super responsive, holding our hands, being very forthcoming. It is so much information spread out through roughly 5,000 emails. And it's just impossible to keep all the threads together and sort out, who knows what. And the amount of cat herding is
that's a producer's job.
Oh my Lord. Oh my God. Yeah, it's significant. So that has been more stressful than fun. But what has been really nice has been to collect a really competent and capable team. I knew from jump, Deb and I as the performers, Loctite. We're both working with directors that we've worked with before who understand and love us and the pieces. Loctite. Alex was so worried she wasn't going to be able to be a producer, but as she's stepped into it, I'm like, thank God for you.
Yeah.
Thank God.
She's a natural.
She's such a natural. Yeah, she's really.
And she actually produces for herself. Mm-hmm. I think she never thought of herself as a producer. She thought of herself as the person who got, she does these fabulous burlesque shows called Bounce House.
Mm-hmm.
And she's producing. I mean, she's
of course.
cuckoo. She's exactly what she's doing. And she truly is a natural. She's the mother part of Maiden, Mother Crone.
Okay, so she's the mother hen component.
She's hurting us, and we finally said, yes, please take it. It's your time. And she's like, you got it, you know. And she's working it all now, taking it off our backs, but in with the most kindness. And I'm really looking forward to her becoming one of my best friends because I love her.
She's wonderful.
Now, you know. Yeah, she's great. And anyone who will take their clothes off in public and has the nickname the titties from Jersey City is going to be a friend of mine.
Mine too.
I have a problem with that.
Alan's for sure.
I have a problem with that, though. It needs to be the titties from Jersey Cities. It's got to completely rhyme. There's got to be more than one Jersey City. Then I'm on board.
As soon as you unveil your nether region, Alan, you'll have the right to say that.
All right, we're doing this.
Do it.
Okay. So
what a day.
You have these two really beautiful.
It's a nice deck you got.
Sometimes I have the neighbors over. We all get on my dick.
With barbecue.
We'll put a nice barbie on there. The stain on my dick is really. I have a
really
really big dark dick.
Oh my God.
Is your dick treated?
It's pressure treated. It can take a lot of wear and tear.
And it is.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Dragging chairs,
and people stomping on it all night long. You know.
Okay. See, now I'm going to be the mother hen.
Do it.
Both of your shows are very, no, it's good. It's fun. Are very autobiographical. So I'd love for you each to kind of give us a little bit of a taste of, we've got Sugar Coated, right? And Deborah, my notes aren't in front of me, so I just lost them.
The longer my mother is dead, the more I like
longer
her.
my mother's dead. That's right. It is actually really right here. And I just thought, well, maybe it's about the longer her mother is dead. I forgot what the whole name of it. So what were these processes like creating these stories, and what's it like telling them? And just give us a little snippet.
For me, the creation of everything, once I had the container in mind of like, oh, this is a solo show, it came together really quickly. And there was so much of it I hadn't written, but it was like, I had all these memoir essays, right? And the process of my coming out was literal hell, like Dante's Inferno level, absolute total trauma, the tower fully collapsing, and also like a mushroom cloud of, I mean, yeah, it was
sorry.
really, yeah.
Wait a minute. Plus during COVID.
Oh, so that's
yeah.
You came out recently then. I didn't come out till I was 38, so I feel you.
Yeah, I was 36 when I was officially out. And and
Brave.
38 by the time I started this memoir.
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned for more of the episode. And now we're back.
So I had all these pieces that were, like reflecting on moments of where it should have been obvious, where I wish I had come out, where I wish I had more freedom, where I could see how ways of being controlled and manipulated were keeping me fully in the closet. And I drove home after seeing this woman who told me that it should be a solo show. And I was just like, oh, right. So all these really fun moments, and then these really hard essays, and then some more beautiful moments. And I know exactly what it is. And we were on strike. So, all I had to do was just sit in my pajamas and write every morning. So I would, bound downstairs and like open it up and fill in all the missing areas. And I think I had my first draft within a month, just of like writing all day, every day. And it was very long at that point. It was probably much closer to like an hour and a half performance time, if not longer.
Wow.
But yeah, it all just kind of like spilled forth from me, and I was able to cull. And I made endless drafts. Still going because I just cut a shit ton more the other night. But yeah, it was all really quick and very intuitive once I knew the container that it really was. And even though it's seen a lot of different forms and amalgamations, it's like it's all been pretty much the same thing.
What about you, Deb?
Mine's been a slightly longer journey.
Yeah, that's what my notes say. 15 years?
15 years. And that started after she was dead. The mom.
The mom.
The
And
mom.
I had the mom. And before the mom was dead, I had, gone to therapy for 13 years. And so I worked on some stuff. And there's a lot more stuff than just mom. So she dies. And so now it's just me and my sister. And my sister is not someone who I've ever really been connected to. Like she's never come to see me in a show. She was all about her life and her 3 kids and her husband. And that is fine. That is just fine. But so sort of, the only time we connected and commiserated about my mom was the period of time from when my dad died to when mom died. And then about a year after, because, as my mom said, I'm making you executor because, your sister has things to do. She has 3 children. You don't. It's like, oh yeah, because I don't have kids. I don't have a life. Thank you, Mom. Love you so stinking much. But after I got that all handled, which she was happy to turn over to me, then we drifted apart to where we'd always been. So it was me and this leftover mother voice in my head yelling at me anytime I did something that I knew she would have disapproved of. So I started writing it. And for me, Jen said she never did the solo show thing. When I got my MFA in acting, in order to get that degree, you had to choose, write, produce, and perform a one-person show, or you didn't get your degree. So I had experience early on, and I really liked it.
You like that pressure of doing it all yourself.
Well, it tracks with what you told us about when you were younger.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I like being up there. And, there's the thing that makes theater different from TV and film is that you can be the driver. And if what you've got going is good and the audience relates to it, you can guide them. I was going to say manipulate them, but you can take that audience where you want them to go. And you can, once you have the skills as an actor, you can do that with your body, with your voice, with what you don't say, with what you hide, with what you show. And there is no drug in the world that is as good as when you have the audience right here.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it can never happen like that again.
Never.
I love that. I love that feeling.
Ever. And that is so unique and precious. And it's a big responsibility. But, and I feel a little irpy right before I go on. Oh my God, what am I going to do out there? But once I'm there and I get locked in with the audience, then it's just us. It's just us. And for that period of time, we are together in this thing.
Yeah.
And and Jen will attest to this because she came to the reading. This isn't just about mothers and daughters. This is about anyone that you were supposed to love and probably did, but had a hard time admitting it. And how do you deal with the wounds and the scars and the pieces that got chopped off of you in the course of being with this person that said they loved you and you said you loved them? How do you do that?
Yeah.
And so I can now at my age get all philosophical about it, but it's really an amazing thing to hear as you're standing up there, blabbing away, hearing the reaction in the audience. To say something, hear someone go, oh, and then you hear, my mom did that. Oh my God, that's just like, and Yeah, there's a big reaction about it. Just as there, I haven't seen Jen in performance yet, but I'm sure she's going to have the same reaction with her audiences, because it's about, just as this isn't just about mothers and daughters for her, it's not just about coming out and being queer. It's about being suppressed and being kept from being who you truly are. And in this world and these times, brothers and sisters, it's even worse. So to be able to kind of cloister up with someone for an hour and feel free about that, they're getting their money's worth.
Absolutely. And everyone's got a story, either directly or their friends or parents are so complicated. And you and you say you love them, like you choose your friends, you don't choose your family, and you love your family because you have to, but oh god, it's so complicated.
And I will say, being the only one in the room who is a mother, Alan has kids, but he's not their mother.
I'm a faja.
He could be a real mother. You don't know that.
Could be.
Yeah, you haven't seen my dick.
Do you shuffle it? Do you shuffle it? No, but it's a very interesting, like, hearing you all say this. Yes, I agree completely. And I have sort of that same complicated relationship with my mom, and I am a mother. And sometimes, often, my relationships I have 4 daughters, are complicated. And then you start to see things from both perspectives. Now, what makes, I think, me different than my own mother is when I gain more perspective, it's made me a lot more patient with her and a lot more understanding from her perspective. But also, I go, I fucked that up. And I apologize to my kids. This thing I did, I thought I was doing the right thing, but my motivations were maybe off. I wanted it to be perfect. Whatever it was. It doesn't matter. I'm really sorry that harmed you. I'm really sorry. That's the best I can do, right? But my mom would have never, and still, I love her. No. Hi, if you're listening. I know she doesn't listen. She would never come back and say, I've been thinking about this. And I really made a mistake there. But I do that to the best of my ability. And I think that makes the difference. But it's wild to be in the middle of both perspectives.
Oh my God, no, Heather, you're so right. Like, how much of a tacit agreement is it that just adults don't have to apologize to children? Right?
I know, right?
Like any authority, any member of authority. And like a child remembers when an adult takes accountability. They remember it. And what Deb had with her mom, I had with my dad. And like, just an absolute bull in a china shop. No sense of compassion, empathy, anything. And I think my partner and I were just talking about this the other day. Like, what would it feel like to be a kid and to have your feelings acknowledged and your experience validated, and to have your parent just say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I reflected on this. I messed up." Life-changing. All of a sudden, that child is not going to be a serious
I hope so.
anymore. Like,
I really hope so. I mean, I make daily apologies for stupid shit.
Sure.
But bigger ones that are, which both things, my parents didn't do. I hope so. I hope that they can gain the perspective as they grow older that, like, nobody's perfect. One of my favorite quotes is, I've never been this version of me mothering this version of you. And I never will be again. We're all just trying to fucking figure it out.
I love that.
That's beautiful.
Quote, actually. And I try that with my kids too. I try to be so apologetic when, after the fact, if I'm upset, because there's so many things as an adult that get you angry. And then you come home and they're being themselves. They're being kids. They're like, Dad. And they're like, what do you want? Like,
because you got all your own shit going on. Right.
Right. Like, I'm not, like, I just for the record, I've never yelled at them like that.
He's never yelled at them like that. He's a great
dad. But like, in my head, that's what I'm feeling. Right. And I'm like, guys, I just need, a second. Anyway, but I try to go back afterwards and say, I'm sorry, this is what's going on. Like, I try to explain it to them literally of like, work is causing me problems. I'm having conflicts with my mother, with my friends, or whatever it is, right? And acknowledge to them that I am sorry. It was an accident. I didn't I acknowledge the feelings. Didn't want to make them feel bad if I did, and explain that there are other things in life that were affecting me, and like showing them that I'm human.
Okay. First of all, I hear that and I think it's great, but I'm actually curious to hear from Jen and Deborah's perspective, what the feedback I've gotten from my older kids, I have 2 young adult daughters, is we just want the apology. It doesn't matter why. Because they see that in other ways. If you're communicating and talking in other ways, they know things are stressful with work or with parents because you're talking about them. When they've been hurt, they don't want an excuse as to why you've hurt them. They just want an apology. And
that's right.
Yeah.
I think
we want to justify because we don't want to be in trouble for having hurt them.
Well, because you don't want to be wrong. You don't want to be wrong. And that's what apologizing, in the grossest, largest sense is. I fucked up. I was wrong and you were right. And I took it out on you, and I was wrong and I was wrong. And nobody wants to be wrong, and being a parent is such a weird dichotomy of having to be, the dictator and the nurturer at the same time. And it's, I can't even, I would have been in jail if I'd had children because they would have just tossed me in there, you can't do that either. You can't let your children run around naked and spouting poetry, or you can't lock them in their room because you're just tired of their little screechy voices.
You can let them run around naked and spout poetry, but you cannot lock them in a room.
Not outside the house.
Oh,
though.
Yeah, not outside the house. Maybe just in the backyard.
That part.
Yeah.
Yes.
My kids go around naked all the time. Poetry, never. Never.
There is no poetry
in this house.
But Jen and I have had some discussions about this because, when I knew stuff about her mom for a long time, and just because I give people names, I'm a weirdo that way, I always would refer to her mother as Mom Ponton. And then comes the day I finally meet her mom in the flesh, and I am calling her Mom Ponton to her face. And
she's like, I'm not your mom, bitch.
No. She enjoyed it.
And they are exactly 1 year apart.
Okay.
And then she found out I was the same age as her, and she said, "You cannot call me Mom Ponton anymore." And I said, "Oh shit! What am I going to call you then?"
That's funny
because that's the relationship I knew her for.
Oh, that cracks me up. Relationships are so complicated. Relationships with ourselves are complicated, and I feel like the one thing that will make things less complicated is owning our own shit, not putting it on other people, and fucking apologizing. And so that actually leads me, Jen, so much of your work tackles and your activism, fat phobia and body positivity. And again, our relationship with ourselves and self-compassion and how we put ourselves out into the world. So I would love for you to just sort of, share a little bit of that journey with us. I know that that's impacted Sugar Coated, but also so much of what you've done. And how does that kind of tie in to everything?
Oh, in huge ways, because, the real nexus of it is in the late 80s, being a round, soft child of 2 thin adults, but specifically my father, was abhorrent. I think my late father had a lot. I mean, he definitely, I know he had a lot of trauma. I think he had an eating disorder. I know for absolute certain that he was incredibly unkind, judgmental against fatness in general. When he quit smoking at the age of 60 and he finally put on like 5 pounds, he was devastated. I mean,
5 pounds.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
He was wrecked the way you'd think that like an actress in a soap opera would be. It was messed up. And so my mother was not as deleterious. She was a bit more just like, this is like the feminine age of dieting. But for my father, it was so much more personal. It was such a sense of like disgust and rejection And I think that really was at the nexus of my relationship with my body when I myself developed disordered eating, when I myself was, going through a lot of like self-mutilation as a kid.
Oh, friend.
Yeah. And then high school and college were so freeing socially, but also you're growing into a young woman and you're like, oh God, I really have to abide by these rules. And I want people to think I'm pretty. And oh God, this is a prom and it's 1998 and there are no dresses above a size 14 and I'm already like stacked, right? So, I mean, and my mother did her best, but didn't know, but was a thin person from a thin family and didn't know, like, I never went to Lane Bryant, as I didn't even know what Lane Bryant was until my senior year of college, right? Like just no idea, no scaffolding. And so, all of that, all those negative practices persisted through high school, through college, even though I did like myself more, because I felt like I finally had people in my life who valued me. But I was like, oh no, the only thing that's really wrong with me is that I'm fat. And that's that's going to devastate me. And then in college, right, like only getting cast as mothers and the crotchety old neighbor and like all this all this affirmation of like, you do not have the body to do what you want to do. There are no roles for you. And then to emerge from college looking like this. I mean, I look like this at 40. When I was 22, I looked like I was 10 years old. It was crazy.
Well, and I just am going to interrupt you because I've been watching you now for about an hour and you are so gorgeous and you glow. I wish, well, you hopefully watch this on Spotify Spotify. I mean, you glow, you radiate joy. And I'm imagining this was a journey for you and it's a journey you're sharing. But I just wanted to tell you that it shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was like instantly, my breath was taken away with just how gorgeous you are as soon as we got on camera.
That's very kind.
I just want to say
thank you. That makes me very anxious, but I appreciate it. Sorry. I appreciate that. It's very sweet.
I literally thought the same thing. I didn't know how to say it as like a cis white man.
Right, because it's creepy when you say it.
Right. Heather, you said it.
Maybe if you say it in a Kiwi accent.
That's right. Like, yeah. So I think you're really hot, and if you just want to come over and show you my dick, you can just come up, whatever you want.
We do a pressure wash.
It's cards though, and they're going to shuffle them.
And it really is amazing because as long as I have known Jen, when she walks in a room, everybody goes,
yeah, you can't
to
help
her
it.
because of her energy and her joy and the smile on her face. And, it's like, fuck you people who made up these rules because you're rotten people. I worked for those people. I worked in fashion.
Sure.
There are assholes.
And they're intolerant,
Yeah.
They really are. And now how they mess us up. I'm sorry, Jen, I'll let them get back to you. Now how they mess us up is everybody has a different size clothing for the size it's supposed to be.
Especially the ones who intentionally have smaller sizes.
Yeah. I went to buy some bras and I bought 3 of them and all 3 have a different size. It's like, people, you can only measure your ribs in one way. Why are you having, why is one a 36 and one a 40? I don't get it.
My daughters are all shaped very differently and some of them are voluptuous and some of them are quite stick thin. And the thinner ones like to shop at Brandy Melville, which is bad fast fashion. You shouldn't do it, but whatever. Brandy, do you guys know Brandy Melville?
No, I was about to ask what that is.
Feel so old, right?
Is this like modern day Hot Topic or Spencer's?
First of all, it's a dude from the UK who started it, so I don't know where the name came from. Fairly decent quality. However, they don't have sizes. It's all one size fits all. Guess what size it fits, though?
The 4.
Yeah, or the two. Yeah, like it fits the tall, skinny ones. It does not fit. So my other more voluptuous child, who's built more like me, it's humiliating and it's frustrating. And her sisters are always like, "Oh, let's go to Brandy," and she just all of the shit that you were just talking about. And she's not fat. She's not overweight. It's just a different build. She's just built differently. Yeah.
It gets even worse when you do get into the larger sizes, because those idiots assume that if you're fat, you're tall. So I go and try on a pair of pants and the crotch is halfway down my thigh.
Right. Or a brand will make petites, but they won't make petite plus sizes. Like they'll stop petites at 14.
Because, 5'3" doesn't mean anything except don't make the crotch too long. Don't make the line too long.
Yeah.
And it just isn't there. And it was like, I can't wear this. I look like I'm wearing 7 diapers. What is going on? So
we're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned for more of the episode. And now we're back.
My internal work lately has been about not looking in the mirror and hating what I see, because then you turn 50 and then things move into different places that they weren't before, and it doesn't make sense, and you haven't changed your diet, but your body changed. It's all just crazy fucking shit. Okay, but Jen, let's talk about the activism part of.
So basically, the Cliff's Notes are all terrible up until the age of 23. I get through college, and then I'm auditioning for roles, and I'm like, cast me as the old neighbor, and they're like, you look 12. What you can't play the old neighbor, and also you can't be the ingenue. But what I found, and I wish I could remember the connective tissue that got me there. What I found was, remember blog rings? Do you remember? There might be a cluster of blogs.
Blog rings?
Yeah.
And I never heard of it called that.
Community of blogs.
Communities.
WordPress sites or live journals. And this blog ring was called the Fatosphere. And it was all these authors from different backgrounds, and
it was a good thing.
Oh, it was so
a good thing. It was an empowering.
No,
thing.
it's a good thing. It is a reclamation. I reclaim the word fat because I think it's a descriptive word and it's accurate, but I don't think of it with any negativity attached to it. And neither did these folks. And so all these people who went on to be prolific educators, intellectuals, thought leaders, authors, everything, were writing basically, and it was just this massive takedown of why we perceive fatness the way that we do, exactly whose money is invested in us believing that it's inherently unhealthy, all of the medical community sort of being in on it in terms of selling weight loss drugs, and that the diet industry is the most prolifically money-making industry in the entire world.
And destructive, most destructive.
So destructive. And and so I got to basically learn about bodily sovereignty and the theory of health at every size, which has been the real North Star of my own activism in fat liberation, of just all bodies are meant to be different. And just because somebody looks like this does not mean any of these qualities are part and parcel of them. And it also doesn't actually indicate their level of health. And also their health is not your business at all.
Right.
The same way you don't really care what someone's interior decorating looks like.
Well, that's my friend that I co-created my deck with, because I couldn't do a Kiwi accent if I tried. Rachel is fat, and she tells a story. She used to be a teacher, that a third grader came up to her and said, "You're fat," and she said, "I am. Does that make you feel a certain way?"
Brilliant.
Ooh, I like that.
As my kids would say, "You got burned."
But I love that, right? And it doesn't mean that she hasn't been and doesn't go on the same journey as you. But I what's that? Yes.
Right?
And that affects you how?
Yes.
Yeah.
And kids, kids will learn from their grownups, but also kids are just going to notice stuff like that. So she probably did have connective thoughts because she'd been taught that socially. But like, if a kid just notices you're fat and they just say it, it doesn't have to be
correct.
negative.
Yeah, and I don't think that my friend Rachel was like defensive about it. I think she's just a very thoughtful person, and she put it back on. Yep, that's a correct statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How does that process? For
I
you?
love that. I love that.
Are there any great resources for anybody who's watching or listening? Watching. Now I've decided we're watching.
I'm watching.
Who want to like have more access to this bodily sovereignty, health at every size platform?
Oh my God, infinitely. Well, now that I myself am a crone, right? Technology has already changed so wildly that,
of course,
who knows if that even exists in a footprint somewhere in like the Wayback Machine. But I do know that there are so many people on socials for however long socials exist.
Right.
You know, like Kate Harding, Lindy West, Samantha Irby, Leslie Kinzel, a woman named Marianne Kirby who goes by
Roxane Gay.
Roxane Gay. Yes. Beautiful example. I mean, there are so many people who are regularly speaking. There are all kinds of, medical professionals too, whether they are fat or whether they are just aligned with health at every size, who try and do, positive unlearning education and help recenter you in a place of like wellness and actually listening to your body and healing all of the emotional stuff instead of just trying to get smaller. So I think if you just, do some searching on the video apps, you'll find really good stuff. And then there's just a wealth of books by the people that I mentioned as well.
I love that. Thank you. Now I'm going to have to go back and listen and write down all those. Some of them I know. I'm an avid reader. So
we can add them all to the show notes.
Add them all to the show notes. We can tag them all. I love that.
But what I would say to fools who would say, well, you're so fat, why don't you? I'd say, well, in other cultures outside of America, it's a sign of wealth, you asshole. Because if you were poor, you didn't have enough food to get fat. And I mean, Victorian England and in probably every country in the African continent, it was always a sign of wealth and stability and prosperousness and all that. So it almost feels like it was a uniquely American weirdness until, of course, the British came up with Twiggy, and then it all just went down the crapper.
Oh, God. Although lately I kind of wish they'd won the Revolutionary War, but that's an aside.
By a long shot.
Only if Jonathan Groff is George III.
I don't know. So both of you have had these incredibly diverse careers across film, TV, theater. And I'm curious, I have a two-part question. What is your favorite project you've done that's not stage? And how do you stay open to all of these new opportunities that are all over the place and embrace chance and opportunity? So Jen, how about you go first?
Oh, and this actually ties into your last question. My favorite project I've ever done that was not on stage was the show Dietland. Dietland, because of the nature of Dietland, it is a beautiful and entertaining way to for someone to get dematrixed basically about diet culture. And
where can we watch this?
So it was on AMC, and then for a while it was on Hulu, and now it's wherever you can watch AMC stuff. So for me, that's personally Prime, but it's definitely streaming in the ether. Dietland is phenomenal. And that was so fun because it was so upending of a lot of tropes and a lot of bias. Like there were trans characters. There were so many queer characters. There were really candid conversations about racial privilege, white privilege. There were, and it was fascinating and really beautiful. And it kind of just it took everything down with it in my estimation. So that's a great show and sort of a great opening course to start unlearning a bunch of bullshit that you are so much better off without. And then what was the second part of the question, Heather?
Just sort of how do you stay open to all of these different diverse opportunities? How do you embrace sort of those chance opportunities?
Well, I think not being afraid to self-generate at this point is wonderful because, you know, kind of as a general rule, as an actor, you're a little bit of a like willow in the wind, especially post-pandemic, especially post strikes. Like, for us, our industry is mainly TV and film, and it has just been decimated. Like, it's still twitching, but it's rough. And so there's, this sense of always having to be ready to jump and be like, how high, as soon as, they want you, they need you. And I think that the connection to that sense of like, yes, I'll do anything you want, has gotten really thin because we've seen The Wizard of Oz at this point, and he sucks. And so now it's like, well, why would I sign on to do your crappy thing where I'm probably going to have to self-report and not be put up, and also only make $300 because you're doing scale, and there will be no residuals, when instead I could take this play that's really meaningful to me and go and do it
on my
somewhere,
own.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like, because now there's no there. So I think, staying open to like fun collaborations and to stay hopeful and open to things getting better in the industry. I do think that's a long arc of justice, but
yeah, I love that.
I think mostly it's like, all right, so what power do you have? What creativity do you want to grab by the horns and like tell your own stories and gather a bunch of friends and go do it together? Like, now that there is no Wizard of Oz, how do we reframe this?
I love that. Don't wait for a seat at the table. Create your own table. Yeah.
Also, we have to put a lot of the wizards in jail because of what they did.
We really do. We really do. Deborah,
jail.
quickly, I know that we're quickly running out of time. I wish we could talk forever. What's your favorite non-stage project?
It has to be Gotham. It has to be Gotham.
So just real quick, where can we connect with you both on social media? How can we get tickets to the show?
Yeah.
Oh.
People can come to the show by going to maidenmothercroneshow.com
or tinyurl.com/Mother Maiden Crone.
That's harder to remember. Sure. But we can make sure you have both links we put in the show notes.
Look in the show notes.
We also have at Maiden Mother Crone Show on Instagram, and I'm directly Jen Ponton on Instagram for as long as that exists.
And I am Deborah-Unger.com, but also for the show, I have a website called deadmomtalking.com.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you both so much. I wish we had like 6 more hours where we could just stand on my deck and have a nice drink and
have a nice bobby.
Have a nice bobby on my deck.
You guys are amazing. That was fun.
Jen and Deb, Debbie and Jen, Jennifer and Deborah. They both have like multiple names.
I don't think that Jen does.
No,
Jenny. Nowhere have I seen Jennifer written anywhere. She's not Jenny.
Nor Jenny. Yeah, so Jen, my bad.
She's Jen.
Whatever. Whatever.
See, Alan likes to decide for you.
Well, let's come over, where we can all hang out on my deck.
But it started as a deck of cards, and then it moved on to like a patio.
It was always a deck. It was always a deck. You hear what you want to hear, Heather.
You do keep my life fun, and I think they enjoyed us. I do.
I hope so. I hope they did. Yeah. I love that the people like that just are like, I'm going to do this. We're going to work together. I'm going to hang out with my friends and my pals, and we're going to make great stuff and hope other people like it. That's like, that's kind of the crux of what you and I are literally doing right now.
100%. That was my favorite thing. It was like I was trying to fit into all of these boxes, and none of the boxes fit, and there weren't a lot of opportunities. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'll just make my own opportunities.
Make your own box.
And I'm like, yeah, that's literally the story of my life. And I love that they're doing that. And I love that that was the message. I was like, if you see, younger artists, what do you want them to know? Like, just fucking create the thing you want to create. And then you have to meet people and put it out there, and networking is important, but do the thing that you love.
If you enjoy doing it, then it's not, this is so cliche, and people hear it all the time. People say it all the time. But literally, it's like, if you love what you do, then it's never work, right? So if you enjoy doing it, and you just happen to make something that other people love to watch or listen to or experience, and you can make some money off of it, then you're gonna have fun. You're gonna expand your creativity and be a happier person.
I mean, that's the whole, like, you and I, especially you, but both of us with podcasting, right? Is we put a lot of time into this, but you put more time into it now than I do. I'm sorry.
I know, it's fine.
Your face was like, I felt shamed by the deer in headlights look.
No, I'm so tired. I'm so tired right now. It's just been a long week. It's not deer in headlights. It's part of my brain is like, time to nap, dude. It is time.
I know, but the point is, we love doing this together. We love the people that we meet. It's very cool.
Yeah, and I love Jen and Deb. Maiden, mother, Crone. I didn't know what a Crone was. I had to look it up.
You did not know, but we all told you because we were all like, hello, meet your 3 crones for the day.
I was like, wait a second. This is like Crone Village I'm stepping into.
I fucking love my Crone era. She's smart. She doesn't give a single fuck about anything. And if you don't like what she has to say, like, that's your problem, man.
Yep.
Not mine.
What is Crone generally for female presenting people, or can a man be a Crone too? What is it?
I feel like men are always Crones, or at least they think they are. I already know more than you do. I already don't give a fuck what you say.
So
gonna do my own thing.
So, like, it's mansplaining and Crone-splaining? Is that kind of what we're going for here?
Man, I wish this had come up during our conversation yesterday. I would have loved to hear Jen and Deborah's response to this.
Let me Crone-splain it to you. All right, we need to do that with each other. We'll Crone-splain.
We can Crone. Yeah, that could be a whole new segment of the show. And now we Crone-splain.
Yeah, and now it's time for Crone-splaining. Don't know what that is? Heather's going to tell you.
Oh, wait. Okay. I'm gonna write it out. You guys want to hear it? Listeners, if you've stuck with us this long, do you want a Was It Chance Crone-splaining segment? Is that all right.
Yes, please. Well, how can they let us know?
They can let us know by emailing us at wasitchancepodcast@gmail.com, connecting with us on TikTok, Was It Chance Pod. I think it's Was It Chance Pod. Pretty
Could
sure.
be.
I think so.
We'll
if Alan's checking Instagram, you can message us on Instagram. I personally, Heather, I left all of the Meta platforms, but you can try. Oh, we have a new way. We have a LinkedIn page.
And Blue Sky.
Which has very little on it, but we're growing it.
Yeah.
So you can connect with us on LinkedIn.
And you're on Blue Sky?
I am on Blue Sky.
I'm on Blue Sky too, actually, personally. I was on Blue Sky years ago and forgot I had it.
Wait, for reals? Why are we not connected? You're my bestie. Why are we not connected?
Because I still haven't logged into Blue Sky since I signed up.
Well, that's dumb.
Like 2 years ago.
I think you would like it, actually. It's like Twitter was in the early days.
Yeah, that's what they said about Threads.
I love Threads. I miss Threads. I don't miss Instagram or Facebook, but I miss Threads.
So we a couple episodes ago, let's see, we were talking about friends, if the friends you make on Threads, but so Blue Skins doesn't really
that sounds inappropriate.
Right,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Although most of my friends are also on Blue Sky, and I even have a whole list, because on Blue Sky you can sort it by lists of Threads pals. So I can find all of the people who I talk to on Threads and talk to them